All right, let's get into this grammar thing. As always, you're going to jot down this sentence, mistakes and all. You can hit pause, get your sentence written down. You can also copy and paste it from the description bar below. Make your corrections, and then you'll hit play to see what's up. All right, you're back, which means you are ready to roll. All right, so first up, we have an opening introductory element that we're going to slice off from the main independent clause. As we've mentioned in previous sentences, the independent clause is the sentence that can stand alone. It has a subject and predicate. So for us, this time it is Paul had to give up all his favorite junk food. That is the complete thought. I'll try to underline it, even that's a little bit of a traffic jam in here. There we go. That is your independent clause. When we are adding something at the beginning, a little extra information, you're going to separate it off with that comma, which we have happening right there. And then we have run-on sentences created because we just keep on trucking. We don't have any punctuation at all separating the second independent clause. The second independent clause is snacks, chips, and cookies were no longer in his grocery basket. That's a complete thought also. And because we had no punctuation here at all, we were creating a run-on sentence. I have fixed it with a full stop. I feel like you could do the semicolon, which we've talked about in previous mugshots, which would work fine. I just feel like the second independent clause isn't so closely aligned to the first one that we need the soft stop of the semicolon. So I'm going to go ahead and just break it into two sentences this time around. Again, there's lots of ways to correct a run-on sentence. That's just the one I chose this time around. We have a series of three happening here. There are three things or three, types of food in his basket. So we have snacks, comma, chips, comma, and cookies. And you guys know that that second comma is the Oxford comma, which we've talked about before. Optional in modern writing like blogs and newspapers, mandatory in formal essays. You are obviously going to capitalize the S in snacks because we're breaking it into two sentences. All right, next up for your second sentence of the week. To estimate the costs, Andrew consulted a contractor by phone. Unfortunately, he discovers the project was far over his budget. Isn't that true? Every home improvement project I've ever done has taken twice as long and cost twice as much money as we originally budgeted. That seems to be the pattern. All right, go ahead and hit pause, and I will wait here to show you the answers. Okay, so we are starting the sentence with the word to, and to is a preposition. And you know by now that whenever you start with a preposition, you know that pretty quickly you're going to have a comma separating off that introductory element, and we have it right there. So to estimate the costs, comma. And then we get into the independent clause. Andrew consulted a contractor by phone. That is your main sentence. Contractor was misspelled, so make sure you fix that guy. And this time, I'm going to fix the run-on sentence, a special kind of one called a comma splice, by turning that comma into a semicolon. This time, I feel like the second independent clause is close enough to the first that the soft stop instead of the full stop feels right to me. Again, optional. There's no right answer here. There's multiple ways to fix a comma splice. Run-on sentences. You could do the comma and one of the fanboys if you want, like we've talked about previously. But again, I just chose a semicolon here because I felt like being fancy. Unfortunately was all kinds of misspelled, so definitely fix that up. And then unfortunately is an adverb that we're separating off as an introductory element from the independent clause. He discovered the project was far over his budget is your main sentence. And so unfortunately, again, just like to estimate costs is an introductory element that we separated off with a comma. We have a verb tense shift problem. We were in past tense here with consulted, but then we switched to present tense here with discovers. I don't like that. So I decided just to stick the whole thing in past tense and end with change discovers to discovered. All right, that is your grammar practice for this Monday. I hope you're finding this useful. It should be getting a little easier. I tend to circle back around and cover the same skills over and over again, and that's by design because the more you see these things, the more you recognize them, and hopefully you're starting to spot them in your own writing and go back and fix them as well. That is, of course, our ultimate goal in sharpening your mugshot toolbox. All right, I hope you're doing great. I hope you had a good weekend. I will be back on Wednesday. We'll do a deep dive on 3 high-level vocab words, and I'm always here on Friday as well with a little Freestyle Friday, a drop of high school English. All right, if you could like the video, that helps folks find it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye, y'all.